What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast, the OG sex positive podcast celebrating 6 years. This is episode 453, and I'm your host, Stevie, alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good on this Monday, April 3rd, when we recorded. And joining us, of course, over there in Brooklyn is Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful over here in Brooklyn, darling. It's so beautiful.
I love it. I love it. And we have got some listeners that have been writing in that want, one of them wants us to weigh in, and another one I was going to save if I can pull it up. Kodi, I think you'll be happy.
Okay.
They essentially, where is that? Let me find it really quick. I didn't have that one queued up. Here it is. Okay. From Apple Podcasts, amazing chemistry. I love you all, but Kodi is my absolute favorite.
Aww.
What a personality. He's a keeper. I love being entertained by y'all every week. So thank you for this content. This was by O-Dog, WG9 from Apple Podcasts. So
thank you, O-Dog.
Yeah, that should make your day, Kodi.
Makes me smile.
There you go. Yeah, and you guys all can write. We appreciate it when you listen to us on Apple Podcasts to rate and review us on there. It helps us do better for other people finding us, and just go on there and give us a little rating and review. Also writing in, he emailed us via tagspodcast.com. GA Dog says, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes.
I know. I love it. A Bush-appointed federal judge in Texas has blocked the free preventative care mandate of the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. Basically, companies do not have to pay for free types of preventative care, including screenings for cancer, depression, diabetes, and HIV. Since this injunction goes into effect immediately, many gay men may have awakened this week to discover that their PrEP is no longer covered. And while insurers claim that there will be no immediate changes, this ruling allows them the opportunity to restrict coverage. As of this email, the Biden administration and DOJ are evaluating the ruling. And I have a note on that in just a second. He writes, this is just another right-wing activist, MAGA judge, abdicating good sense by shifting the lower costs of prevention to the more expensive costs of treatment, just so they can get in another stab at Obama. I kind of have to agree with him on that last bit about Obama. Definitely. For sure. Yeah. But as of today, there's a news story that says the Biden administration is wasting no time challenging last Thursday's ruling, by a conservative federal judge in Texas that, like we said, would eliminate a significant component of the Affordable Care Act requirements for insurance companies, things like PrEP. Department of Justice attorneys representing the Department of Health and Human Services will appeal the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans, according to a notice of appeals filed in federal court on Friday. So the judge, Reed O'Connor of the U.S. District Court for Northern District of Texas, struck down a key component of the ACA, and he wrote a whole 28-page opinion on this. PrEP medications are used by people regardless of sexual orientation to prevent HIV transmission. So a lot of this was based on religious freedom, and that's why it was really enacted too, because a lot of people on the right were saying their beliefs were incongruent with homosexuality. They basically did not believe their company's insurance plans should have to cover PrEP because gay people use PrEP to prevent HIV transmission. And providing insurance for PrEP encourages homosexual behavior, if you want to wrap your head around that. That's just nuts. I mean, I just think, Jeremy, now it's come down. I mean, thank God there's a temporary restrictive order on this, thanks to the Biden administration. But if you're relying on something like this, it has nothing to do with the religion. It's about health and safety, correct?
Right. I think they're tying it into something that it doesn't have to do with, but I'm not surprised that they are.
Right.
And I mean, everyone knows the price of PrEP is like astronomical, so it's just really ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want to remind people also that there's a great company out there. I think we're going to get somebody from them, Mister, out there on the show sometime soon to talk more about how you can get it typically for free. I just signed up for it because I was having some issues with my own insurance company. And
Mhm.
Jeremy, I know you've done it before.
Yes.
It's a little tricky though. I was having to prick my finger and use this test tube to put the blood droplets into and I'm not really good with all that kind of stuff. Not to mention
No, I
the
I
blood.
I don't think I told you guys, but I got it, and uh I don't know if I was just having like a dry week or something, but I literally tested all the finger pricks and could not get any blood out.
What?
Well,
That would drive me
Like
insane.
I was it was pissing me off because I'm like, it tells you run your hand under warm water like
do
to
jumping jacks.
help it circulate and everything, and I was literally like pricking one hand and then it wasn't bleeding, so I was pricking the other and I wasn't getting anything.
I mean, you're
And I'm
clearly
just
alive
like,
because you're on
I
the show
know.
right now. So we know you have a
Exactly.
heartbeat. But the one thing they did say to do is to do jumping jacks. So I was like running in place. I was doing 2 sets of jumping jacks, and that seemed to work. So maybe jump on the treadmill for a second. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they changed their way about how they do it too. I know we're going off on a tangent, but
Yeah.
anyway, Kodi, let's get you in on the conversation
Oh,
on
yes.
this ruling.
Because I got
And
an opinion.
okay, make sure
No,
it's not a 28-page opinion like the judge wrote.
child, that judge, they need to throw the book at him because
Yeah.
this is absolutely ridiculous. PrEP at this point is common sense. So I don't want to belabor that point because I figure that you guys have already kind of covered it a little bit. So I want to know whatever happened to separation of church and state. I think that
Right.
it's absolutely ridiculous that these right-wing Republicans their religion is allowing them to have access over my body and be able to make these laws that affect my body and medicines that actually save lives. I think that a lot of people I saw something today on Instagram that said, we don't have a problem with your religion. We have an issue that you don't act more like Jesus. So
Oh.
I could not. Yes, and I thought that was very, very poignant and apt for this conversation. So,
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely. And staying in politics, there's a federal judge in Tennessee that has blocked the state's anti drag law from going into effect for now. And the funny thing about this story is it was a Trump appointed judge. So a Trump appointed judge essentially blocked this anti drag law, which gives a little bit of hope that judges are not so partisan. The law, which would restrict drag performances, was signed into law last month by Republican Governor Bill Lee, and it passed along with a bill banning gender affirming care for youth. Those found in violation of the law, which outlaws as quote unquote adult cabaret entertainment with male or female impersonators, what is this, like the 70s? I mean, could face felony charges on repeat offenses. It bans drag performances from public property or venues that could be viewed by a person who is not an adult. Memphis-based nonprofit Friends of George's, a theater company that produces original drag-centric performances, sued the state earlier this week over the law. So this is kind of good that it's like I said, it's currently temporarily blocking this going into effect, which would have gone into effect on April 1st at midnight.
Wow.
So no, we don't know exactly where it's going. There's a hearing date set for Friends of George's for their next show. So we'll see where it goes on that. But I mean, with this huge sweeping agenda by the right to block misguided, I would say, towards drag queens, it's just crazy. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Kodi?
yeah, I think it's completely asinine. such a double-edged sword. It's so backwards to me because I feel like they want to protect guns but ban drag queens. It doesn't connect for me. The thing that is really uh having our children, I don't have any children,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the children of America, the thing that's really threatening children of America right now are guns. And they want to make the drag
Right.
queen issue. I don't think that kids should be at any type of sexualized anything. But a lot of these drag shows are very wholesome when kids are allowed to go to them. They're the
Mm-hmm.
or especially for drag queen hour, the reading hour, the queens are dressed like princesses. They don't look sexualized at all. So I don't know what their point is. I think that they're trying to drive an agenda and it's completely misguided at this point. So
Yeah, I mean, just the other day, there was a neo-Nazi guy was arrested for firebombing a church hosting drag queen story hour. So,
Yikes.
I mean, if there's look how far it's igniting people like this neo-Nazi guy to go into otherwise non-sexualized events. I mean, it is
yeah,
interesting, Jeremy, though, that everyone wants to make it about sexualization, like Kodi was talking about, but none of these things are sexual in nature. They're drag queens, right?
Right.
So I just feel like it's all misguided. It's all just for this current right wing wave that we keep seeing persisting to take away human rights. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just not right. So okay, well, moving on, there's a new nasal spray for erectile dysfunction that claims to work in 5 minutes. So it's
oh,
not on the market yet. It's scientists in Australia claim to have created a new treatment for ED that can be administered via nasal spray. And they say its main advantage is that, unlike tablets, it can take as little as up to 15 minutes to take effect. Common medications for ED include, well, we all know the ones: Cialis, Viagra. Once taken, the tablets can take 30 to 60 minutes before eliciting their desired effect. Quote unquote, our nasal delivery bypasses the digestive system, so it really goes straight into the bloodstream and has an effect in 5 to 15 minutes. Would you be interested in taking something this that works this quickly, Jeremy, or do you want to see if it passes the science first before you
I
take
would
something?
definitely wait a little bit just for more statistics and to see uh, just how patients react to it and side effects and stuff like that. But I would be open to it afterwards.
Yeah, I'm a little leery of it myself just because what's the rush,
Yeah.
literally. And I think when things go into your bloodstream, and let's just say you're drinking or you're in hot temperatures, I'm always a little bit leery of that. And for something that's easily to pull out like this nasal spray, I mean, usually you kind of know if you're going to have sex if you're going out that night, and can't you do something like our new sponsor, Joy Mode? And that can take up to 45 minutes. A sexual performance booster, but it's all natural. It's got things like citrulline in it, and it really just helps blood flow. That I'm really excited to try, and it's more naturally based. But Kodi, would you be interested in something? Do you need it really fast like this to get hard, or are you willing to wait? What's your thoughts on this?
I do see the appeal. I When you're ready to go, you're ready to go. So I do see the appeal of it, but I agree with you guys. I think that we need to see it needs to be tested more before we really jump into it head first.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which head I'm talking
ass
about, but
up. Yeah.
but yeah, I do. Like, how long does the erection last? There's so many questions that I have on this, so I would like to see some concrete details about this medicine before I take it.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of inhaling things, the New York City Department of Public Health just issued a friendly reminder to please never drink poppers. They're
Oh,
to be inhaled,
Oh
right?
Lord.
So it's just, then they've become uber popular recently on the dance floors. Girls are using them. It's interesting that the New York City Department of Health choose to have this timely warning, they posted it Friday morning. Poppers, this is what they wrote. Poppers are liquid chemicals that people inhale to get high. They are often sold in small bottles that look like energy drinks. Never drink poppers. Drinking poppers can cause hospitalization and death. Death by poppers is not a cute look. That's what they wrote. Or they didn't write that part, but they wrote...
all that sass.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they didn't give any sass.
They should have written it that way. I live.
Exactly. I mean, well, if you think about it, 2 years ago, the Food and Drug Administration urged people to stop using them altogether. And that was during the pandemic. And didn't give a whole lot of reasons at that time, other than they're just, not safe. And I don't know what the other reasons were, but I do think it's kind of cool. New York's always ahead of the curve in so many of these things. With monkeypox, we were the first to get, well, we've had the most infections here, but we were the first to combat it. And I don't know. I know you like them, Jeremy, poppers. What do you think was behind the New York State Health Department telling people not to drink them? Do you think there's been cases of this? Or
I mean, I'm sure they've had hospital cases of it at least. And I mean, I don't know. I would never by accident drink anything that small, just because it's obviously not the size of a normal drink, and it has a very pungent smell, which I'm sure does not taste good.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that people have either, like, I don't know, just had to call an ambulance for like swallowing it or whatever, and just probably gotten sick immediately.
You're kind of the perfect person to ask, though, for this, too, because didn't you work at 2 different establishments at one point in time here in New York where you sold them? One was a boutique, a gay boutique, and then the other one was the New York Eagle and the leather shop. What were any stories on when people would come looking for them? Did you have to tell them?
Oh, they always wanted to like know if they could try them first, and I'm just like,
what?
There's no sample.
You can. And I'm like, and how sanitary would that be to share poppers?
Thank you.
Just let me have like a communal tester.
Right. Oh yeah. It's not like a fragrance on the counter at Nordstrom's. I mean,
know, seriously.
Oh my God. I could just imagine Jeremy spraying people with poppers behind in that little store. I think that's
my face was rolling, my eyes like immediately, like, bitch, get out of my shop.
Well, it's so funny because I mean, I've had accidents before. One time in particular where I was having sex with this guy and he was like on top of me as I was laying down, and he wanted to do poppers. He got the bottle, he's sniffing them, and then he spilled it. It got into my eye. So I didn't ingest it, but it did get into my eye, and it burned like acid. I would imagine would burn an eye, and I immediately pushed him off, ran to my bathroom, could not rinse my eye out more enough, killed the whole mood, of course, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so apologetic, and it was an accident, but definitely killed the mood. And but
yeah, I'm sure.
Right. But we've all been on the dance floor before where someone did them or maybe did spill some, and the whole dance floor is filling up with fumes. You kind of get this fun natural high without doing a hard, fast inhale.
Yeah, one of my straight girlfriends really loves them, and she bought them and used them with their boyfriend, and they both like find them fun. So I found that interesting because she knew what they were because of me. So for her birthday, I like added them with her gift,
like a stocking stuffer. A stocking.
Yeah.
They're great stocking stuffers, I think. Kodi, what are your thoughts on poppers? Do you like them? And what do you think with this warning, do not ingest here in New York City?
I enjoy them. You know what? They do not give me an erection anymore. They used to when I was much younger, but I can't if I do poppers, I can't hold an erection. So I don't do them during sex that much. On the dance floor, however, I think it's really, really fun. It gives you that rush, and you get to just live on the dance floor. So yeah. But
I think go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I can't understand how somebody would drink poppers. There's so many warnings on that bottle that say this is not for consumption. So I don't understand.
Well, you know what? Maybe because I'm looking at a picture of like 8 of them that they put together, and they've got names like Jungle Juice, Super Rush. Don't those sound like, if you didn't know any better? I mean, New Yorkers
I
should
mean,
know
I
better,
just would.
but
I don't think I've ever. The only thing I've had that small was those like 5-hour energy things.
oh
Yeah.
right, like in college where you used to stay up all night.
So other than that, I think I would know better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I just think it's cool that if nothing else, they're saying we know they exist. We're not like the Food and Drug Administration acting like, we know people are, I think that was their whole point is we know people are going to use them. For me personally, I don't mind them in bed. Kodi, I actually have a hybrid way that I like them.
Okay.
So it's a combination of what you said on the dance floor, but it's at like a cruise bar like the New York Eagle, where in certain parts of the Eagle, you can cruise and maybe have some fun. And oftentimes somebody will have poppers in those instances. So when I'm like standing up and getting my dick sucked or vice versa, and somebody pulls out those, I often think that's kind of fun in that moment. It's almost like, ooh, we're layering in some more fun to this experience. And so I kind of like it in those. But I don't really need them. If like I bring somebody home, it's not necessary for me. So I'm like this hybrid user of them, and I won't drink them, I promise. New York. This episode of Tags Podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey guys, your buddy Stevie here. And one of the things I've learned about myself over the years is to not take things so personally and seriously. I have become less reactive because there was a time when I was very sensitive and any little thing could trigger me into getting into an argument or having my feelings hurt. And it just wasn't proving to be a successful way of handling myself. Well, after doing conscious work on just that not everybody has it out for me, and many other things that I implemented, life is so much easier, let me tell you. Things roll off my back more. I don't think everything is directed at me personally, and I'm going through life a lot easier. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. But I really believe change is good. Take my case. I consciously made a change in my life because the way I was going just wasn't productive. I was alienating people. And now I have such productive, loving relationships, and things don't bother me as much as they used to. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding. Sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way we do until we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. I think I've shared this on the show before, but when I was in couples therapy for my long-term relationship, it was one of the best decisions we could make as a couple. For one thing, we just weren't seeing eye to eye, and we mostly were not communicating. It took a therapist to really have us each state what each of us was trying to say in a very safe environment. It was a productive experience for both of us, and I think we both came out of that with such a stronger communication and, more importantly, respect for each other. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched up with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/tags today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/tags, TAGS. Hey guys, I was just at the adult bookstore down the street getting my monthly supply of lube and saw those erection pills they sell. The ones that usually are at the front of the store. Maybe they're at the counter before you check out. Have you ever wondered what the heck is in those things, and are they even safe? And we all know there's a plethora of products out there to keep you hard and ready, but are they safe? Many of them raise your heart rate and your blood pressure, and when drinking is involved, when we go out, we may not be consuming the best pills to do the job of keeping us hard and ready for a night of fun. Joy Mode is here to save the day like a superhero we all needed. Whether you think you need help or not in the bedroom, Joy Mode is like a pre-workout but for sex. Joy Mode makes natural and science-backed sexual wellness products for men. The Sexual Performance Booster is designed to support erection quality and firmness and sex drive. It contains clinically supported doses of arginine nitrate, L-citrulline, Panax ginseng, and vitamin C. It was created with best-in-class scientists and biochemistry PhDs. After taking the Sexual Performance Booster, blood levels of arginine nitrate will increase, which will directly promote nitric oxide production, penile tissue relaxation, and increased drive. Meanwhile, the antioxidant action of vitamin C will protect nitric oxide from oxidative degradation, which enhances the blood flow promoting activity of nitric oxide. Collectively, these effects enhance sex drive and blood flow to the penis, resulting in better performance. Joy Mode was created because the products on the market are terrible and they knew they could do better. Prescriptions come with all sorts of side effects and the over-the-counter gas station pills are sketchy and fraudulent, but a lot of guys take both because they don't have a better option. Simply tear open the sachet and mix with 6 to 8 ounces of water, just like your favorite electrolyte packet. For best use, consume anywhere from 45 minutes to 4 hours prior to sexual activity. You'll notice better blood flow, better erection quality and firmness, and increased sexual energy and drive. So you want to spice things up in the bedroom and boost your sexual performance and do it naturally without prescription drugs? We have a special offer for the TAGS audience. Go to usejoymode.com/tags or enter TAGS, TAGS at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's usejoymode.com/tags for 20% off your first order. Thanks, Joy Mode. All right. We have to follow up on a story of a fired gay judge. We were talking about, Kodi and I were talking about it the other day. Jeremy, we'll bring you up to speed. Essentially, he's only 33. He's a judge in New York, but more for like traffic court. And he had not one, but 2 types of like just for fans and OnlyFans. That really wasn't the problem. It was he was posting some things on Twitter. He told somebody to choke on a dick.
Mm-hmm. He tweeted some. Yes, he tweeted some things in response to a homophobic congressperson
by City Council member Vicky Palladino. There you go.
Thank you.
Right.
Sorry,
yeah.
I apologize.
No. You got me started, and I finished the name of it. Yeah,
tag teamed it, bitch. We got that.
And so Miss Palladino ended up, yeah, exactly, tag team. Miss Palladino then decided to report him, in which case he lost his job. But we were talking about it at the time, like, should he have really merged these two, his OnlyFans with his work life as a judge? And we had mixed feelings on it. He actually is speaking up now because after it all happened, he went to Vegas and was living his best life seeing Adele. And I didn't seem very worried about it, but he wrote, "Last week I was fired from my job as a New York City administrative law judge." He tweeted this on Sunday. "This came after a member, just like we told you, had tweets. I wrote in response to their bigoted and misguided statements about drag queens and about the queer community at large. The council member and news outlets also took this opportunity to expose me for unrelated X-rated work, none of which occurred during or at work for the city." He is deciding that he's going to start his own practice for the LGBTQ community, plus community, doing pro bono work on advising members of the community, things like hatred. And he also let everybody know that he's going to keep his accounts going. So I kind of think this has a nice turn of a story. I mean, Kodi, what are your thoughts on him? Because he's really talking about, he also wanted everyone to know that sex work, including porn, is not shameful. And I will not filter my thoughts and actions to appease those who enact harm on my community.
Yeah, I'm still in support of him. I think that this is so amazing that he's taken something like getting fired and turned it into something that's actually positive for his life. And I hope that he moves forward and does great things in his life. You know what? I saw the Twitter post and I saw that so many people were in support of him, and many of them even recommended that he go for this council person. It was council person, right?
Yeah, New York City Councilwoman. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that they would oust her and put him in their place because he seems much more inclusive and thoughtful when it comes to diversity and things of that nature. So I really hope that he goes for that and takes that into consideration because he really does have a lot of supporters out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, Jeremy. I love a good pivot story or when you can take something like getting fired. We were also talking about the New York weatherman, Eric Adame, who got fired from New York One for going on a site, not like a chatterbait, and where he kind of unfortunately talked about his work as a weatherman, and that's how he got fired from that. But he's turned it around as well, and now he has this like in your inbox, you can get the weather from him personally, and it's like $5 a month. But he's very cute and adorable, and I mean, I do love a good when people can turn things around
Yeah,
when
that's
they've
definitely
been
a
outed.
smart way.
Yeah,
A smart way to like turn it out.
yeah, exactly. So I kind of happy ending to that. So we'll keep up on that as well. Okay. There's a recent Reddit thread where gay guys reveal all the reasons they love Twink Tops. So it started because a lot of people, a guy on Reddit essentially was saying, he gets a lot of naysayers that, if you're a twink, I'll just read what they said. I'm a top, but my face and body are pretty twinkish, the user wrote. Grindr slowed way down for me since I stopped being versatile, and I feel like most bottom guys are looking for someone more masculine. What do you guys think? And he got like a lot of different responses, including positive ones, like, quote, I absolutely love a twink top. They're the hottest and the world needs more of them. I'm pretty sure tops of all shapes and sizes are desired, which I love all the positive things. And I think that's really great. But do you think there's any legitimacy to that, Jeremy? Because at one point when I first met you, you were still in twinkdom land. And I feel,
Yeah,
if not
definitely.
still, and you have been, for the most part, a top. Did you ever have anybody question your position as, oh, you're a top?
I did, and I have in the past, but I don't really succumb to that, and I don't really care if someone doesn't like it. So I think it's like someone else said, all shapes and sizes, and I don't think that the label of exactly what someone is supposed to be like uh, is truth.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would almost, if I was replying back to this guy, I would say I feel there's been a shift in the last several years where
Mm-hmm.
people are a lot more versatile. People are less bottom shaming than in the past. I'm sure it's still out there. But what are your thoughts, Kodi? I mean, you're a self described blouse. Tell everybody once and again on what a blouse you think a blouse is.
It's a feminine top, darling. Yeah.
Yes, darling.
And you know what? If I can
What would
exist,
your blouse look like? Would it be sheer
it's
chenille? Would it be?
chiffon, darling.
Would it
It's
have one of those
it's
bows on
light
it that they
blue. Then
from the
I
soap operas?
it's definitely from Dynasty, darling. Did we do a Dynasty
Oh,
quote
so it's like a
earlier?
Linda Evans. We did do a Sammy Cho comment. Yeah, well, I was being
Yeah.
Sammy Cho. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pre-show, but yes.
Oh, I'm definitely Dominique Devereaux in my blouse, darling, talking about burnt champagne and things of that nature. But
With your
she's a
dick
tough
out,
bitch,
pounding
though.
your boy.
Going hard, going deep, hitting that
Balls
second
deep.
hole.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, if I can exist out there as a feminine top, then I think that twink tops are perfectly fine, and they're out there and they're validated because every top started out as a twink at one point,
Yeah.
so you grow from your twinkdom into your adultdom, and there you have it. And if all the muscle bottoms out there are not shamed, then why are we out here shaming twink tops?
Yeah, and just let people be. I mean, I think it's a valid point for him to. I mean, clearly he feels this is happening to him. Like he's shifted from being versatile to being more top now, and he feels like he's not getting as much action. Maybe it's just how maybe he just needs new pictures, or maybe he needs to put his dick out there a little bit
I was gonna
more.
say.
You know, if you are, it's like, I mean, he essentially is taking his sex resume and applying for a whole different position, literally, and he needs to update the resume to reflect his new top resume. I mean, his new
Fact.
life choice, right?
And it's all about the dick, right? That's what it's all about.
Of course.
Yeah, it's all about the dick when you're wanting to be a top, but I don't think you need to change, worry about the twink side of it or any of that. Don't worry about that. So, yeah. And people change. I love it. I think we should commend him for exploring a different side of his sexuality. I mean, I went forever as a bottom, and I still am in many ways, but I'm exploring more of my top side, and that's come in the last couple of years. So I am no spring chicken, so there you go. All right. I love this next one because I love anything that questions youth and aging. And it was a Reddit thread, and they wrote, I just turned 33, still feel 16. I don't feel old at all. I know that's a good thing. I'm also aging pretty well. And he asked the question, how old do you all feel? So he got some different responses, including go hang out with some 16-year-olds for a day. You'll feel 33. I love that. I thought that was hilarious.
That is.
But I mean, Jeremy, you're around the same age. How old do you feel? Do you feel your age? Do you feel younger? Do you feel you've shifted?
I definitely feel my age, but I also don't. I wouldn't ever group myself with 16-year-olds, and I have a 16-year-old brother, and I don't even understand the slang like that they talk, and it's just a whole different like language and everything, and we're just not like nothing alike in the age range. But I definitely feel my age, and I definitely feel older than I was, but I don't feel old at the same time, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
I feel matured, and I feel like I've had life experiences that have got me here, which I'm like happy for and proud of. And I mean, but I definitely would not refer to myself as feeling very young or 16.
Yeah, I mean 16. I mean, to think that far back, it was like.
But I also I haven't ever really been one to focus on numbers of like myself or friends. I don't really like, it doesn't matter to me. And also like the looks part of it doesn't matter so much as the healthy, like just being happy and secure with yourself at the age that you're at, but not so focused on the actual number and digits.
Yeah, I mean, health is so important. Health is wealth, and without that, I feel like we have nothing. So I agree with you. I mean, Kodi, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it was more of a metaphor, or do you really think he feels like he's 16? Because 16 was sophomore year for me, and I was not out. I was sharing with you over the weekend on some things that I did in my homecoming, and I was quite active and busy, but I don't know that I would want to go that far back. I like my age, the age that I am now. I, like you, Jeremy, don't focus so much on, I celebrate birthdays because what's the alternative, right? And I think, I'm always doing things to better myself, whether it's physically, internally, about my, things I want to achieve in life and career and loved ones. And so, no, I feel young, but I don't feel my age either. What are your thoughts, Kodi?
Yeah, I would never want to go back to being 16. I was so filled with and racked with self-doubt and all the things that come with coming out. So I don't think I would ever want to feel 16 ever again. But I definitely feel in my mind, I feel that I'm 27. Now these knees, These knees are 54, okay? They are not mega knees.
We'll get off the ground and stop.
Don't tell my boyfriend, all right?
I won't.
No, but I definitely feel that there's something to feeling youthful because it keeps you open, it keeps you evolving. There's so many benefits to having that mentality, that youthful mind frame. But you can't let that mind frame keep you from enjoying, like you guys were saying, and taking account of where you are in life at this moment. So I definitely agree with you guys 100%. It's all about keeping that youthful mind and being proud of where you are.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to ask yourself because I really think that you can't go back in time, right? All we have is now and the future. So you might as well make the best of who you could be today and future versus thinking about, oh, I wish I was, I still feel, well, he just said he felt like that age, but it's still sort of reflecting. I can reflect fondly like I was to you the other day, Kodi, about some past experiences. And I think it really was, interestingly enough, when I was 16, when you and I were talking on last Friday.
Yeah.
But it was nothing more than that. It was a fun, reflective moment on a fun time that I was having, but not to suggest that I want to, go back to that, and not even how I felt. So, although I could do really good backflips and I was a gymnast, so I kind of wish I could do those, and I could do the splits, which I guess I could still try and work up to that. I mean,
I think you could do them still. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to push it.
Yeah, not after your leg just healed.
Thank you. Right. Thank you for reminding me, Jeremy Wisdom, on the show here. Staying sort of in that line with some other advice. Someone posed the question, would you date somebody with body dysmorphia? So they further extrapolate. Would you? I have body dysmorphia, and I feel like I will never be able to take photos of myself, undress in front of people, etc. So I'm scared of being alone forever. People had different things to say on it. I won't go into too much, but body dysmorphia, as we know, Kodi, is essentially, well, what's your definition of it? It's essentially not feeling comfortable in your own skin, right?
Yeah.
And having people just not liking your body, correct?
Yes. Not liking your body and feeling like when you look in the mirror that it's not living up to your expectations. That's how I would define it personally.
Right. And I feel like we all have points in time. We all look in the mirror every single day. Yeah. And I'm sure we all have thoughts that could be linked to body dysmorphia. I think a little bit of it is healthy, if you will. And that could be controversial to say that. Only not that term, because that sounds really clinical and bad, but I think to just be able to look at yourself every day, there's going to be days when you don't really like what you're seeing in the mirror, and guess what, you have the chance in many cases to change certain things about yourself or work on yourself. And so I think from that, it's not a bad thing. But I don't know, what were your thoughts, Kodi, on would you date somebody with body dysmorphia?
Yeah, I mean, I would, because we all are dealing with something at the end of the day. And I feel like everyone, like you said, to some degree is living with body dysmorphia. I feel like I know that there are times when I look in the mirror and I pick something out about myself that I think I don't like about my body. I feel like I look at my body and I look at somebody else's body, and we can have very similar looking bodies, and I will praise them for certain things. And on myself, I find it a flaw, or I find it as something that's undesirable. So I can't really judge anybody else when it comes down to them having the same type of thing that I have. I would advise that they go and find an outlet for that, whether it's a mental health professional. Well, I would definitely recommend they see a mental health professional in order to get a hold of what it is that they don't like about their body and what's really behind their body dysmorphia.
Yeah, and one of our sponsors right now is BetterHelp,
Yeah.
which is therapy online, and you can check them out. You can get 10% off your first month. Somebody wrote in the comment section, exactly. It's like some person saying, I'm not dating a guy who's in therapy, because every guy I ever met and myself for like 15 years has been in therapy. So, yeah, I mean, no one's perfect when you meet people, Jeremy, I think. And so somebody else wrote essentially, if I had to compliment or give my partner compliments every single time we got together, that could be a bit much. What are your thoughts
Mhm.
on this, Jeremy? Would you date somebody with quote unquote body dysmorphia?
I definitely would, and I think everyone has a little bit of it, and I think that there's no issue with having uh, things that you think are flaws, and I think that you could always work as a team to
Mm.
benefit each other and each other's thoughts. And I'm not saying over compliment someone to mask the issue, but I think that there are ways to navigate uh, just giving positive feedback or pushing someone to better themselves rather than focusing on the negative aspect of it. And I would never just say never to dating someone that has body dysmorphia, knowing that me myself, I've always had certain things that I don't like and change or don't change, and get a different haircut or eat less just so that I look a certain way. And I mean, I think it's just normal in today's society, especially with so much social media and videos and photos to look at of strangers, that
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and this person proposed this. I don't know, Kodi, you're our life coach on the show. Is
Mhm.
it an actual clinical term, body
Oh,
dysmorphia?
yeah.
And okay, so
Yeah, I just Googled it. It's a mental health condition. And this is from the Mayo Clinic and John Hopkins. Actually, they have it here as listed as a disorder.
okay, but I think to Jeremy's point, we can all have you know partial dosages of this within
Hmm.
all of us, because I can relate to some of the symptoms of it. I think we all have, just like Jeremy was saying. And so I think if you were dating somebody that maybe they were spiraling, going down a rabbit hole, you could be everything there for them, but also suggest something like medical treatment for this, or
Yeah,
help, right? And I think that would be a good avenue to explore with them, not write them off, and especially when they're down like that.
definitely. And in response to what that one commenter said about having to constantly compliment your partner, shouldn't you be doing that anyway? I, that's
Isn't
a
that built into the structure of a
I-
relationship?
I
when
also feel like gay men are like really hard on themselves about how they look. Like just in
FOMO.
within our community, I feel like it's definitely a prevalent thing that isn't really a. It may be a part of other communities, but I feel like in ours, it's definitely heightened
Mhm.
to like just have a higher standard.
Oh yeah, but because the straights, they don't have to. All the straight guys out there that I see, a lot of them are not. They're not really concerned about their body. So I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thanks for playing on all of that. We just got some sad news that we just have to tell everyone. I'm from San Francisco, and San Francisco drag icon Heclina apparently just died while
What?
she was on tour in London. Peaches, she's done so much for San Francisco community over the years, and I'll just read what Joshua Grinnell is Peach's Christ. I'm shocked and horrified to bring this news to you. I'm living a real life nightmare, so forgive me if I don't have the answers just now. This morning in London, England, I went to collect my dear friend Heclina, who's co-starring with me in a mommy queerist show here, and found her dead. I do not know the cause of death yet. I know this is shocking news and I'm beyond stunned, but I wanted to let folks know what had happened. Heklina is not just my best friend, but a beloved icon of our community. I am a mess given the crisis. Please do not try to contact me. That's what she goes on to say. Just really sad because I remember Heklina was huge in San Francisco and apparently was going on to was in this tour. So sad news on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Rest in peace, Heklina.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, you can always follow my co-hosts. You can follow Jeremy on Instagram at JRossLopez. JRossLopez. You can also follow Kodi on Instagram at Mr. Maurice, or as a life coach as KMD Coaching. And follow me, I am _Steve V, or the show at Tags Podcast. You can go to TAGSPodcast.com as well. We are live Wednesday night with Tags Live on our brand new home, and we're happy to, you can get the link over on our website, TAGSPodcast.com. Just click on the link, Tags Live. Okay, guys, thanks so much for this fun little party on a Monday night. Yeah.
Definitely.
In the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.